Hello and welcome. We have John Winter with us today. John, why don't you tell us where you're from?
So I'm the CEO of the Australian Restructuring, Insolvency and Turnaround Association, much more easily known as ARETA, and I also have the good fortune of being president of AUSAE. And AUSAE, for those of you who don't know, is the Association of Associations. That's the way we like to describe ourselves. But as an organisation, what we're about is lifting the skills of association executives throughout Australia.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, John. So let's get started. We've got some work-based questions and then we've got some fun questions coming up as well, which I can't wait to get to with you, John. So talk to me about what does the way we work in associations look like and how will it differ in the next 3 to 5 years?
I think associations globally are going through quite a substantial change. There's obviously the whole process of COVID brought on very rapid shifts around the need to virtualise most of the products, and given that most associations have training as a mainstay, both of their education, their ability to lift the standards of people, but also from a revenue perspective. Education having moved to learning on demand and also being able to be offered in a much wider base is changing the way that associations interact with their members. And indeed, it's providing an underlying shift away from a necessary connection via membership alone. So people can become much more transactional. And I think that's a shift that's going to only accelerate over time as we move away from traditional membership models and more towards that service-based approach.
I think that's a very honest appraisal of where we're at and where we're going. Yeah, thank you for that. Are there any new initiatives that you are trying with your team or have tried recently that you want to implement?
Yeah, so for us, it's now about making sure that we're capturing the profit margin on anything that goes through our organisation. I see a lot of associations outsourcing their products and services. And the moment you do that, you're giving away the profit margin on it. And in this environment where every association is being crunched for revenue, and it's only going to get worse as market conditions tighten, giving away that profit stream doesn't make a lot of sense. And of course, we're not just not for profits, we're not for losses. And we've seen a number of major associations posting really big losses. That's the reminder that you've got to make sure that every dollar of revenue you can hold on to and use it for the benefit of your members. So it does mean thinking about how you own every part of your revenue stream.
And profit is not a dirty word.
No, profit is what allows you to go and do all the other great things. Of course, in association space, building up a decent war chest allows you to go through significant investments further down the track. Having really good reserves. Clearly, coming from the insolvency industry, this is mantra that every organisation should think about. Having good reserves gives you insulation for tough times, and it also means that you've got that ability to fund those new initiatives, to do really impressive things for members. Because it's no fun running any organisation on the smell of an oily rag. You need some reserves to be able to drive you through to take those big steps forward as a business, if you are a business, and be able to do better things for members in the future.
Yeah, I love that. Business for the members.
It is, that's exactly what it is.
That's great, thank you. Are there any initiatives or drives that you're pursuing to engage younger members, either within the industry, so as potential members, or within your staff and your organisation itself?
So particularly for ARETA, the insolvency profession, unfortunately, is best described as male style, pale and frail. There's only 5% of the registered population who are women, and it's a huge challenge for us to try and shift that.
Yeah.
The traditional reasons around that were around the type of work that was involved. It's very difficult work, but it's also work that you'll get a call and you'll be sent to a remote location to run a business for 3 months.
Yeah. And
so anybody with childcare responsibilities is going to be under a lot of pressure to take on that type of job.
Yes.
So we need to break the nexus around a lot of those things. So we have a thing we call a Balanced Task Force, which is focused on the broad scope of DEI, but also moving on generally to ESG and thinking about the entire context in which we operate. So for us, that's a major initiative. We've long run young professionals networks.
Great.
And for us, the barriers to entry to ARETA membership are high. You have to do a postgrad course before you become a member of ours. But our young professionals don't even need to be members. So we drive an engagement piece which is not focused on membership. it's about bringing them into the profession, making sure they're aware of where they can access the skills that they need, training, which obviously comes from a retail. But really importantly, it's about helping them build their network, and everybody in a profession wins from that.
Fantastic, I like that. That is fresh thinking. Thank you. John, I'm sure there are many, but what challenges keep you awake at night?
Look, revenue right now. It is revenue to the end of the day, because we are investing significantly in changing our organisation. And when you do see the losses that are being posted around similar organisations to ours, then revenue is always a problem. And you've got to ensure, and we've got great reserves, but you've got to ensure that you're going to bring it back to a more stable environment. And the other thing is people. I know I'm talking to the guru on this, but it is getting harder and harder to find good people. I think associations in particular have lost our value proposition around being able to attract and retain staff based on flexibility. We were the only sector that used to do that, and it was always the trade-off for not being able to pay top dollar. And now everybody's doing it. So we really need to rethink what our engagement is with trying to bring in and retain staff when we're never going to be able to pay them the sort of money that the top end of town is paying. So it's a challenge.
I hear you, and I hear a lot about that. So yes, that's a really valid point. Thank you. And share with us one special skill that you have that might surprise us. I'm sure you have many. Many.
I hate the term, but I'm a polymath. I consume vast amounts of news and information, and the turn of phrase that people love to say about me is I know shit about shit.
And we love you for that.
But from a work perspective, particularly when you do engagement with government, having that wide knowledge, it means that you're able to have discussions at a different level with people. I think a lot of it comes, I've spent a lot of time working in media, and knowing what's happening in the news, knowing what's happening in the world, and retaining that stuff really can empower you to make better decisions as well.
That is a skill. Absolutely. But you enjoy that skill. I can see the passion in his eyes.
It's always fun.
That's amazing. Thank you. What is your favourite cocktail, John? When you're ready at the end of a long week for a mixed cocktail, what is it?
Negroni. Through and through, preferably with Full Pillars Negroni gin as well.
Ooh, yeah.
I live for Negronis to the point it's probably giving away far too much. My 5-year-old one day walked out and said, "Daddy, you're having a Negroni." Probably time to reconsider how many Negronis I have.
Now that's his special skill, because he knows what Daddy drinks. That's amazing. I love that. I do like a Negroni, and you're not the first person to say that to us, actually. So
good CEOs always reach for a Negroni.
It's a good one, especially a really cold one. Yeah, fantastic. Now then, what song gets you running for the dance floor? And don't be shy.
So I love dance music, house music, and my favourite DJ is Dead Mouse. So I love More Ghosts. I love the tune, absolutely.
Now,
yes, that was, everybody's going, what? That's him?
I'm pretending I know what you're talking about. I love a wide range of music, but dance is one of the types I saw
a t-shirt the other day that said, I'm amazed at all the old people that are the same age as me, and I guess I look at that now and I go, yeah, all right.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. I love it. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Amidst all the professional juggling that you do and the busyness of life, what's the one guilty pleasure that gets you through a hectic day?
Sailing.
Oh.
I started sailing. I'm very fortunate. So I went to a public high school on the Northern Beaches, Pure High School.
I know it well.
And we, in those days, had our own yacht that was made in woodworking glass. And so it was a 22-foot timber yacht, and 2 teachers had trailer sailors, and so school sport was sailing.
Wow.
And it was very down to earth. This is certainly not a fancy area at that point in time, but sailing, you either surfed or you sailed for sport, and I learned to sail. And I stopped sailing for many years just because life got in the way. And then recently, a really good mate bought a boat and took up racing, and so I go twilight racing now. And because you can't take your phone with you. You take your phone in that situation, either gets broke or it goes in the drink. And so you have 2 hours where you're out there and you're clear-headed, and it's a really, really great, almost mini holiday every time you hit the water. It's a divine experience. And you're out there with other people with the same passion.
I grew up on the coast, different coast to you, but we used to say better a bad day on the water than a good day in the office.
100%.
I agree. Something about being away from the busyness of the world.
You're out there in the most beautiful environment, and it is a wonderful break. And I absolutely go to work the next day in a better frame of mind every time I do it.
Form of meditation.
Yes,
I love it. Fantastic, thank you so much. Share with us one quirky or unexpected hobby that you have outside of the realm of associations.
Well, I guess the sailing is the primary hobby. I also have a fascination with Lego, and having a 5 and an 8-year-old is actually what's brought it back. I grew up with Lego, and it was just it's a fabulous thing for any kid. And having young kids again now has made me get this really great interest in it. And so I use the justification for kids as the reason for buying extreme amounts of Lego. And I'm not sure my wife believes me on that anymore. But I think it's the coolest stuff. The kids love it with a lot of fun.
It is cool, isn't it? But does it always get packed away at the end of the night, or do you tread on it in the middle of the night? That's the killer with Lego.
It's kids off to one side. You can't possibly let it out. They are like grenades.
Yes, Lego should come with a health warning or a swear warning. Yes, absolutely. I agree. Oh, that's good. That's good to know. Lego, fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today, John.
Absolutely.
Great to get to know you. Thanks for your insights.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.